You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your host, Thomas Ahrens. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Fishing the DMV. I'm your host, Thomas Ahrens, and today I have a really special guest. I have on Trevor English, who reached out to me, and guys, this is how I get a lot of my guests, because there's so many cool things in our Mid-Atlantic area that, you know, one person can't just know everything about, and we have a really cool topic for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
So, as always, when it's a guest's first time, you know, what got you into fishing?
Essentially, my dad, he was, fished a bass boat on Smith Mountain Lake throughout the 80s, tournament angler. Throughout the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, kind of had some tragedy hit, and he kind of lost his competitive edge in 2003. But I used to fish with him some. Like when I was in high school, we would do some team tournaments, but I never really got into it competitively until probably 3 or 4 years ago with the whole kayak thing. But pretty much grew up fishing Smith Mountain Lake. And once I got older, got a driver's license, I branched out and kind of really fell in love with the smallmouth and the river fishing, and started hitting like the James and the New River, because they're both like, I live in a cool area in Roanoke where I could drive 45 minutes and be on the New River, and I could drive another 45 minutes the other way and be on the James River. And pretty cool spot. But that's kind of how I got into it and just kind of stuck with it. Kind of just grew up with fishing and all that.
What was the moment you decided to get into kayak fishing?
When I looked into how much a boat would cost when I was like 18 or 19, just kind of seeing all that. And honestly, like what I kind of really enjoyed fishing, a bass boat wouldn't really be suitable. But I just kind of got into it. I found one on Craigslist. It was just a sit inside Old Town. This was probably 2006. And I was mainly fishing rivers in Franklin County, and like the Blackwater and the Pig River. Really like nothing to brag about with those. They're just small streams. And that's when I branched out, went on the James one day. I think it was like 2008, and I caught a really nice, 17 and a half smallmouth. And I was like, man, I'm hooked on this. This is where it's at. And, and then I started, once I moved to Roanoke, I just started kind of just fishing that since it was close. And it's kind of a pretty cool smallmouth fishery. A lot of people know it. Yeah, it's a trout fishery, really. The state stocks it so many times a year throughout the season. And that's where a lot of your anglers are, you see. But not many people smallmouth fish it. But, yeah, it's kind of how I got into all that.
Let's get into it. Like, what is the Roanoke River? I mean, that's one watershed that I know about the lakes, but not the river itself.
Well, you got the Stanton, which a lot of people have been fishing a lot lately, which runs out of Leesville to Bugs Island. And that's the section they call the Stanton. Don't really know too much about the history why it changes names like that, but it's got to do something with Pennsylvania County or something, I assume. But, it starts with the two forks up like at south, the North Fork and the South Fork. I don't know too much about the North Fork because it's like really small, real wadeable. But the South Fork that starts up like Montgomery County, like Alronto, that runs through Salem, that meets with the north and starts the Roanoke River, runs all the way through Salem, through Roanoke City. And then you have a dam in the town of Benton called Niagara Dam, which is a small hydroelectric dam. And then below that dam is essentially Smith Mountain Lake, but it's still, you got good 3-4 miles of river that you could float. And that just dumps right into Smith Mountain Lake. And
is the fork above Roanoke proper?
Yeah, yes, sir. It's up like Montgomery County, like Alronto area, where the south starts. I don't know exactly where the north starts. I don't know too much about it.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
And then, it goes, then after that, it goes all the way to the Albemarle.
Yeah, and if you guys aren't actually aware of this, the Roanoke River is the same thing that dumps. It connects Smith Mountain Lake, and I'll actually pull a map up here in a minute. Here we go. So I'll pull a map up here. So Roanoke River actually is what creates, or one of the rivers that creates Smith Mountain Lake. It comes down, creates Leesville, Bugs Island, Lake Gaston, until it goes into Albemarle Sound. And right now we're talking about, and we'll circle back to this piece, but just to kind of follow the trends, the how it goes is after Smith you have Leesville, and then from Leesville to Bugs. Is that whole section there? I mean, can you fish it?
Oh yeah, that's the Stanton. That whole section there,
This would
from
be the
between
Stanton. Okay.
Leesville. Yeah, between Leesville to Bugs Island is the Stanton. Is what
Gotcha,
they call it.
gotcha.
And then when it
I
comes
understand.
out of Bugs Island, they call it the Roanoke again.
That's weird. That is really confusing.
It is.
Huh.
It is weird. I think there's some like history with Pennsylvania County on why it's called the Stanton. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm sure someone out there probably knows. But.
So there you guys go. So that portion is the Stanton, and then what we're going to be talking about, we're going to pivot back around. We're going to be talking about above Smith Mountain Lake itself. So when I think of the Roanoke River, I mean, it comes with, the city of Roanoke as well. When you're fishing just primarily, I mean, can you fish around the city itself, or are you trying to go up north of that?
I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but most of the smallmouth I catch come right in the city.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. A lot of people were like, oh my gosh, it's like, I wouldn't expect that. But yeah,
That's wild.
but here lately I've been fishing the section that dumps right into Smith Mountain Lake, like right below Niagara Dam. And that's a really good section. I've been having fun learning.
What how many dams are there on this portion of the Roanoke?
On the portion we're talking about, just two.
Yeah, just
And
two.
there's some small, like old low water dams, it just happen with high water and stuff like that. But, you can portage around those if you're floating. But I'm looking at the map, but I know, you have Niagara Dam and then Smith Mountain Dam at the end of Smith Mountain.
Okay, gotcha. How big is this thing?
I'm not exactly sure, to be honest with you. I know the section we're talking about's a good 30, 40 miles, I think. Counting the forts.
Huge. That's massive.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. If you count the two forks. Now, the North Fork, it's almost like a creek. Now, I've never fished it, but the South Fork's pretty big, and you can do floats on it.
So, guys, I'm also pulling up right here real quick. I'm pulling up his Instagram, too, so we can take a look at that together here. Just get an idea for this place, because it's such a beautiful part of Virginia that we really don't, sadly, talk about enough on the channel, honestly. All right.
The section's up in Salem, too. Salem's a little, like northwest of Roanoke. That part's really good. And there's, I don't want to give away my spots, but there's nice smallmouth fishing through there too. And if you're into trout fishing, it's a lot of that to do. There's like a delayed harvest section that's.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah. So all these fish are really up in the Roanoke area. That's crazy, man.
Mm-hmm. The largemouth too. There's largemouth in there also.
Now, with that stay with the largemouth, do you get any striped bass that push up that far?
Below Niagara Dam, you do. Especially in April when they run up in there in the river. I mean, that section of the river is so full of bait once you get towards the lake. That last set of falls, it is just so full of shad, and the striper are definitely up there for those. I've caught them up there on Alabama rigs and big swim baits and stuff. But
how navigable is this part of the river? I know like parts of the New River can get kind of sporty if you don't know what you're doing.
It's pretty navigable. The rapids are they're like slow rapids, but it's rocky. That's what you got to watch out for. There's a lot of rocks, and the water's so clear. Sometimes you're like, well, I'll just kind of skirt over that rock, and you'll just get shipwrecked right on it too. So you really have to watch. But it's pretty navigable. There's a couple like low water bridges you have to get up portage around. especially through Salem and Roanoke City itself. The neighborhood Wasena, you have to portage right now because they're redoing that bridge. And that's kind of a pain, but other than that, it's not too bad. And you can go all the way now in town of Benton, right where it butts up to Niagara Dam. It's probably 4 or 5 miles of just flat water, and it's real lake-like right there, and that's where a lot of the largemouth are. But you could put in, there's a launch in town of Benton called Tinker Creek Launch, and you launch on the creek, then come out into it. And you can paddle it too all the way down, but there's a portage at the dam that you can go around and keep floating if you want. That's pretty cool, and that will take you straight into Smith Mountain Lake.
Okay, so that's down. Let me go right down here a little bit. Where's this dam? Is this it right here? Oh, okay. No, that's not the dam.
No, that's Hardy. You got to go back up river a little bit.
This is a lot.
Might be right there. Yeah, right there.
Oh, holy shit. Like, this is a legit dam. Holy crap.
Yeah, it's a hydro dam. It's power to the city.
I didn't know this.
Yeah,
was
not
here.
many
That
people
is
know.
Crazy.
Yeah, not many people know about it.
How dangerous is it? Because I know certain dams like can be quite dangerous to navigate around. Like if you were floating down this thing, are you screwed when you get to this point? Like, do you have to get out and portage earlier?
And there's signs that tell you a good ways off that, do not go past this sign. You will not be able to get back, especially if they're pulling water, pushing it down. But no, it's pretty easy. I've never heard of anybody getting in any trouble or anything like that or getting hurt. But it's a good ways to portage, and it's a gravel road. You can go all the way down. It's actually on AEP property, but they let people portage and go around.
Oh, that is really cool, dude. Is there a lot of boat ramp access in this part of the river?
There's some, but they're like the one I normally use. They call it a boat ramp. It's pretty much just a dirt bank with steps dug into it. But yeah, there's some nice ramps. They're building some nicer ones now in the Roanoke now that it's getting a lot of traffic. But it's mainly like recreators, just people out just floating, drinking beers, listening to a Bluetooth speaker and stuff. But
it's crazy to think that like you can fish and like Roanoke's a big city, and the fact that you could basically fish in downtown Roanoke is pretty wild.
Yeah.
What is the traffic rate like from just floaters, people on wakeboards, things like that, paddle boards?
It's quite a bit on up, like around the hospital area, like Roanoke Memorial Hospital, and then like through Wasena. That's real popular. I used to actually live right below the hospital, and there's a greenway that people bike and stuff like that. And I used to just load my kayak with gear on a dolly, and I had a spot I cut out, and I would just launch right there and then go all the way to the end to like 9th Street or 13th Street. There's a really nice ramp there. But a lot of the ramps are just like, just put and take canoe, kayak, tubes. It's a lot of tubers go through there, stuff like that.
Is this thing that I'm following right now? Is that a highway, a rail? I think it looks like a railroad track right across there.
It's a railroad track.
Okay, gotcha. Now I'm seeing. Okay, this here's a piece. Okay, baseball fields.
Yeah, it's Roanoke. There's railroad tracks everywhere.
Yeah, you ain't joking. That was a major rail hub for a long, long time, and it's interesting that you can see all these recreational fields guys built up around it. So I can see there's tons of places you could just dump a kayak off right off the side of the road too. There's
plenty because there's a greenway that runs all the way beside it, and it goes forever. It's like 20 some miles that greenway goes. It'll actually take you from Roanoke into Salem.
Wow.
Too, and that's how I just like I would float and then just load my stuff up on a dolly and just walk the greenway back. I don't live on the river anymore, but
dude, that is really, really cool. And you said there's trout also that you could catch up here and there?
Oh yeah, there's big trout in there too that they stock. It's the state of Virginia, the part of that trout stocking plan. It gets stocked like 8 times a year, like from October to November. But they definitely stay in there. I've caught them, definitely like in July, summer, into deeper spots of the river. But a couple of years ago, I was fishing one spring. I was throwing topwater, whopper popper, and I had a 20-inch brook trout just blow up on my whopper popper. I'd never had that. Never would expect it. A big
Dude,
trout to hit a
did you
whopper
catch him?
popper. Oh yeah, I got it in. I took a picture and released it.
Guys, while he's talking, I'm going to go back on Instagram and try to find this bad boy. That's
Yeah, you're right to scroll for a little bit.
Hey everyone, just again, I want to say a quick thank you to everyone in this community and especially to my Patreon supporters. As you guys know, we got laid off my government job about a month ago. A lot of government cuts going on right now. You know, through this time, I know there's other families that are having a hard time out there in this economy. Thank you. Just thank you so much. I don't take any of this for granted, and I truly appreciate everyone's love and support. If you guys would like to join us on Patreon, there's a link in the episode description so you can help kind of support the show. And thank you guys so much for everything. Enjoy the episode.
But yeah, they're in there. They used to stock the brown trout a lot in there, but I guess they found out that apparently we have like an endangered species in the Roanoke River. It's called the Roanoke log perch or something. I don't know. I've never seen it. People talk about it all the time. Nah, that's not it. That came out of that came out of a creek. I think I was using a different kayak that day. Keep going. You're getting close. Getting close.
There's a whopper popper.
Go back up.
Let's see.
Should be on there. It's gone down towards the bottom.
Well, this was at the bottom. We'll use, because I know what a brook trout looks like. So we'll use this one as an example because that's a brook trout. Yeah, it is a brook trout. So
yeah,
guys, just so you guys can visualize, that's what a brook trout looks like if you don't know. And they get 6 inches on average. So 20 inches is freaking massive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that was like one of those like brood the hatchery has that you just release in there with the rest once they can't use them anymore. One of the brood stocks, I guess.
Dude, that's pretty cool. Like, I'm assuming the water temperatures stay pretty cold then year round?
Yeah, I mean, it gets up like normal, but I mean, the Roanoke gets deep in some spots. Like there's some spot that I fish a lot in the winter. It gets like 36, 37 feet. And it ended like 20 feet wide too, the river, and it's pretty crazy.
Is there sections, generally speaking, is it above the city, like you said, that has better for trout versus below the city?
I think most of the people go to Salem because they stock that side of it too. And there's like a delayed harvest side too, so that it gets time for the trout to grow, I guess. But that's where I say a lot of the people go.
Pull that up. The old Salem part here for you guys, because yeah, like Salem's pretty far. It's not too far away from that. I'm sorry. And then you
Salem's a good lake. Salem's a good. I like going there. Sometimes if I'll put in above, and then there's a boat ramp literally right behind the Cardinal Criminal Justice Academy. So like I don't feel bad about just leaving my stuff and calling an Uber and going back and getting a vehicle because it's right behind a police academy. So.
So here we go. We got Roanoke here, and Salem should be up here somewhere. Where it go? Mm-hmm. There it is. So you got Salem up here. I mean, there's just so many creeks that feed right into this area. It's just wild.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you have an issue with the water rising really quickly, like flash floods or anything like that? Do you have to be worried if it rains?
Oh yeah. Really? Yeah. When I used to live on the river, I've had it come up in my backyard before. Well, when we got Helene, it didn't get as bad as the New River did, but it got 12 feet above. Like the river raised 12 feet during Helene.
That's wild. Good Lord, that's wild.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's this lake up above?
And all that water.
Little Hope Church. Spring Hollow Reservoir. Interesting.
That's a water supply reservoir. They don't let anybody fish it because there's like some camp right near it. I've tried about 15 years ago. I reached out to the water authority, and they told me absolutely not.
Does it keep the river cooler or warmer having all that water dump in?
I think it keeps it cooler, honestly. But it doesn't take long. Like that water will get super muddy within 3 days. Though, after a high water event, it'll be almost back to normal and the water about clear. I mean, their river when it's normal, it stays crystal clear.
That's really cool. That's really cool. And it's such a small little place compared to like the Susquehanna, which is interesting. Like, is there a lot of traffic that you really see on a daily basis?
Like fishing traffic, or I
There's
see a lot of
just people.
I see a lot of people tubing. There's a place called Roanoke Mountain Adventures in Wasena, and they rent tubes, kayaks, stuff like that. And I see a lot of them. I see some people fishing it, but they're normally just waiting for trout. There's a guy, I don't know his name. He's a big fly fisherman. I see him on one of those fishing tubes, like pontoon fishing tubes, all the time. And I think he was actually on the news for catching this huge, like 24-inch rainbow on a fly in like July. He caught it like a month ago, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
That's really cool. Is trout really big down that way?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of trout fishermen. There's so many small, like little, like you see the guys making baits like in their basement for bass and stuff. There's so many guys like that just making like little micro soft plastics and stuff for trout down here. There's so many little small stuff, especially if you go west, like more towards like Smith County, like Bristol and all that. There's so many places down there to trout fish. But trout fish in Roanoke's really big. That's honestly how I first kind of got in and found the Roanoke, was just wanting something to do in the wintertime. And I bought a trout stamp, when I was like 18 and saw they stocked the Roanoke. I was like, I'll check it out. And while I was fishing, I ended up catching a 16.5-inch smallmouth. And I was like, oh my gosh, man, this has got smallmouth in it. I'm going to kind of remember this place. And that was kind of before they dredged it. They did a lot of like flood reduction and dredging to it, where the old Victory Stadium used to be and stuff. So, and it didn't mess the fishery up, I don't think, because I'm still catching them pretty good through there. And a couple other guys that I put on to the Roanoke River, they talk pretty good about it. I've caught some 18, 19-inch fish before, but like most time you're going to go out there, you'll catch 10, 11, 12, up to 15-inch smallmouth, on a regular basis out there. There's some big rock bass in there, huge rock bass. I have a citation rock bass actually that came out of the Roanoke River.
Wow. Yeah, that's something that's such a weird mother's home cooking memory of mine about catching rock bass as a kid. And I don't catch them much anymore. I run some online tournaments for my Patreons, and like this past event, 50 anglers, there's only been like 2 rock bass recorded out of 50 people. It's crazy.
Oh man,
I don't know what's happened to the population. Yeah, but I don't know what's happened to the population of rock bass, like in Virginia. Like most rivers, it seems like it's just kind of plummeted.
A little bit. I do talk to a lot of people. I mean, I don't know if I'd eat anything really out of the river. I mean, I eat the trout, but because the Roanoke River is a lot cleaner. But I know probably like the old timers that are in their 80s, they've told me stories about how nasty that river used to be way back in the day when they were kids. But it's a whole lot cleaner now. But I still wouldn't eat anything out of it. The lower side right there where it butts up the Niagara Dam, I was fishing one spring, and just out of a brush pile on a Cinco, I caught 4 really good, 10 to 12-inch crappie. And I posted a picture of them. I think it was just on Facebook on my story. And so many people were like, oh man, why didn't you eat those, man? That's good. And I was like, I know crappie they are good, but you don't understand where I caught them at. But
well, it's like the you guys are going to kill me in the comment section. I think it's the North Holston. I am so dyslexic. I forget the North and the South, but there was so much mining pollution apparently from West Virginia that it was like uber poisonous. Like you should not eat a fish, drink the water. And that was for like a long time. That place was polluted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's pretty clean. Plus I've heard that like you don't have a good smallmouth population unless you have clean water, because they don't like dirty water. They like clean water, and Roanoke River, definitely does have a healthy population of smallmouth.
When you're targeting potentially trout and smallmouth, do you make adjustments to your tackle? So, like, do you go more with like an ultralight kind of vibe if trout are involved, or what do you like to kind of go with?
I don't really fish for trout much anymore. There are times I'll go out and wade for them there. Um, just if I'm bored, especially during the wintertime. But yeah, I'll use an ultralight, kind of like just smaller swim bait. Um, I've caught plenty of them on flukes fishing for smallmouth. Honestly, just like a super fluke, a 4-inch fluke, they've nailed, especially the bigger ones. Small crankbaits they really like. Um, yeah, just I don't really fish for the trout like I used to, but yeah, I still catch them all the time on smallmouth tackle, like crankbaits, square bills, and stuff like that. Whopper
When you're dealing with
ploppers.
these whopper floppers, yeah, that's apparently the secret for massive brook trout. For your smallmouth tackle, when you're dealing with a small river, spinning rod wise, do you go with a shorter spinning rod like a 6.6, or are you going like what do you like and prefer?
I use a lot of 6.6 medium fast,
Medium fast.
spinning
Okay.
setups, and then I use 6 to 7 foot bait casters too on the Roanoke.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I fish it. I use the same setups as I do if I go to the New or the James.
Oh wow. Have
Mm-hmm.
you ever tried the BFS stuff?
Mm-mm. No, I haven't.
What's the coolest thing about like all that coming in is they're making such great creek and small river crankbaits and jerk baits now, which are so much better than like the trout magnet jerk baits back in the day. So, guys, I implore you, just go try them out. Like again, they're a little bit more expensive than usual, but you can get those really nice tiny jerk baits or little crankbaits, and certain times of year, man, it just destroys on creeks and rivers.
I throw a lot, like the Roanoke. A lot of people, I tell them, how small it is. I tell them, I was like, man, I throw full size crankbaits, like this bandit and stuff like that on there.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that's a 4 to 8 foot diver crankbait. I just bump it along the rocks. They really like the crankbait on the Roanoke.
What kind of line do you use? 10 pound test, 12?
I A lot of buddies they call me Trilene Trevor, but um, I used to have like I kind of have a weird opinion on a lot of the line and stuff. I think like I honestly I run 10 pound Berkeley Trilene big game mono on everything. Now when I went to the chick this past weekend, I beat it up to fluoro. I was using 12 pound fluoro, but yeah, I run 10 pound on literally mono on everything when I'm fishing the Roanoke.
I gotta. Are
And
you a
I've
Ned
never
Rig?
had an issue.
Really? Never had an issue.
Yeah, no, I've never lost. I haven't lost a fish since I made the switch. It was probably 2 years ago. I
I
started doing
really,
that.
I really feel like monofilament gets a bad rap because of, you just you believe the rumor mill of certain things, and then you're actually going based off of a rumor versus the truth. And it's like, well, fluorocarbon or monofilament's got too much stretch. It's got all these issues with it, and it's like, yeah, that was the mono 50 years ago, but the mono they're making now is way better.
Oh, it is, and we were talking about that with some buddies over the weekend. How much better it's gotten, and I've never had an issue, and I just like I was trying to do different line for different setups, and I was like I just got fed up one day. It's like, man, I got too much line. I don't know what to do with it. This fast fishing is just overcomplicated sometimes, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep it simple, and I just switched straight to 10.
That's smart. Keep your life
Mm-hmm.
simple. It makes everything better.
Yeah.
And then something we should also bring up is you're fishing this name's gonna kill me, guys. I apologize. The Virginia Bass Nation Kayak Series, I believe, is the name.
Mm-hmm.
Did you fish the whole season? Like, how many events have you fished?
I just fished a chick. I'm going to fish the Upper Potomac too. My work schedule is pretty crazy, so I'm a greenskeeper equipment operator on a golf course in Roanoke, high-end golf course in Roanoke. And we work during the season I'm a full-time year-round employee, but from March, when we come up, like our winter hours are from December to March, and we work 5 days a week, 8 to 5. But then coming out of when we open, we're open year-round, but when March is when people really start traveling, because we're kind of like a travel course. A lot of people travel in and play it. So we essentially split the crew in half, and we alternate weekends. So I work a 12-day on, 2 off. So the first 2 fell on day my weekends on, and I couldn't find anybody to cover for me for those. But honestly, the Chick was kind of like a destination. Like I've always wanted to fish something tidal and get out there. I was totally out of my element out there, but I had a great time, and it was pretty cool, seeing crabs just float up beside me and stuff like that. The tides, going up a little creek, and them not being able to, having to use my paddle and not my motor because, it's just in silt. It's like 6 inches. And so.
What was the biggest takeaway from that experience? Biggest learning lesson?
I study the tides more and don't be afraid to throw baits. I felt like I could have thrown a swim jig and maybe could have caught some fish, but I honestly don't really know how to throw a swim jig. But I felt like if I just thrown it, something could have probably happened. But probably the biggest takeaway was we kind of made a last minute decision to go across the main Chick at the bridge and hit all those cypress trees instead of not fishing an area that we pre-fished, did pretty well in pre-fishing. So
it takes time to learn.
I had a great time. Yeah. I had a great time, just 3 of us hanging out in campsites. So it was a good time. Sean's a pretty cool guy. He does a good job at running those tournaments.
Oh, yeah. So Sean, huge shout out, boss. I'm going to be getting you on the show here too, Sean. If you're listening to this at some point, you're in the rotation. What is the biggest smallmouth you've caught in the area?
Probably I caught one that was 20 and a half in 2014 on the New River. And I've been chasing that one ever since. It's the only 20 I've ever caught in my life. And that's what really, really got me hooked into kind of chasing the bigger smallmouth instead of just going out, just, fishing for numbers, really just going out and target them.
It's hard because you look at places like the Roanoke River proper, the Holston River system, these smaller rivers, those fish that are 20 plus inches, they're dinosaurs. They're close to 10, 12 years old. Mm-hmm. They've seen everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Especially when you go down towards the Tinker side of the Roanoke where it gets real lake-like when it butts up to the dam. I saw a largemouth in there one time that had to be 6 pounds. He was huge, and I could not get them to hit. And the water's so clear there, too. So it's like, if I see him, he probably does see me. So, but I've seen some huge largemouth in there, and they just won't. They're too smart. They've seen it all before. I had one come up one time and just look at my fluke and just would not. He just turned and swam off.
Do people like to smallmouth and bass fish down in that area, or is trout, like you said, just the number one thing? Is Trout God down there?
It's the trout. A lot of people, I'll be on the river in my kayak, and there'll be somebody on the greenway walking. They're like, "Hey man, how many trout you caught?" And I'm like, "I'm not fishing for trout." They're like, "What are you fishing for?" And I'll tell them smallmouth, and they're like, "There's smallmouth in here?" And I'm like, "There's been smallmouth in here forever. It's just nobody fishes for them."
That's crazy, man. So it sounds like you got that kind of locked into yourself, and it's so cool with these little sneaky places like this because it's like the Holston River system. I keep bringing that up. It's so far away from Richmond, Virginia, Northern Virginia, Maryland. A lot of people are like, yeah, it sounds cool, but do I really want to make a 8-hour trip to go there? And there's so many places like that around, especially your area, just secret little hidey hole creeks and stuff that feed the Roanoke, the New River, things like that have really good smallmouth fishing. And now I didn't mention this. Are you primarily kayak fishing, or do you do any wading?
I'll do some wading every now and again, especially in the summer when the river gets a little low. I'll just tie the kayak to me and we'll just kind of use it, mainly just kind of use it as a kayak to get me places to where I can wade on the river is what I'll use it for. But in the summertime. But now most of the time I'm fishing from a kayak.
Do you see any jet boats or anything like that up that way, or is it just kayak and wading?
Just kayak and wading. On the section where it dumps into Smith Mountain Lake, you'll see some john boats and stuff come up sometimes, but they're mainly fishing for striper.
Boy, that would be a shock to hook into in a kayak. My God.
Oh yeah, they're fun in a kayak. I've gone out for them at night and targeted them with Albemarle rigs and big swim baits and stuff. They're pretty fun.
What is that like?
You definitely go on a ride, but yeah, definitely go on a ride, and they'll scare you too sometimes when you least expect it out there, especially at night.
What do they?
They'll hit your top water plug, and they'll sound like a bowling ball hitting the water.
Oh my gosh, that would be so much fun. Oh man. Yeah, that's the cool thing about kayaking when you get into those bigger species. Catfish, striper. You see guys offshore with like you can get towed, and then you watch YouTube videos, and there's a whole strategy about using your kayak to drag and slow them down. It's like, good God, man, that's a whole day of fight.
I've been on Smith Mountain in the past in my kayak and hung into huge flatheads and stuff, and yeah, they've towed me around coves.
So wild. So I ask all my smallmouth guys this question: are you Ned Rig or tube if you had to pick one to fish the rest of your life?
Oh, tube, 100%. My grandpa told me one time. He said, "If you didn't catch them on a tube, then they ain't biting that day." One time.
That's hardcore, man. That's real hardcore. Yeah, like dude, it's crazy. Like very rarely do you get a guy that says like I like both. It's always like you're either brought up with the tube or you like kind of like I don't know, we're more modern and did the team Ned Rig thing, but it's the tube.
I do throw a net sometimes. Tube's great. I love throwing a tube. There's so many things you can do with it too, but I do throw a Ned Rig sometimes. I'm not a Ned Rig hater at all, but I don't throw it like I used to.
Why?
Now, if you want to catch rock bass on the Roanoke, you throw a Ned Rig.
I was gonna say
they'll be all over that in a hot minute. But actually, the rock bass we have in the Roanoke are actually like different. They're called the Roanoke bass. They actually look a little bit different than the actual rock bass. I had an old timer correct me on that a few years ago. I was like, "Yeah, I caught a bunch of rock bass." He goes, "You mean Roanoke bass?" And I was like, "What the hell is a Roanoke bass?" You know?
Oh wow.
Yeah, they get real dark too.
Oh wow, dude, that thing looks so freaking cool. That'd be fun to catch. That thing's massive. It's not the size I thought. Good Lord.
Oh yeah, they get bigger than your hand sometimes. They have some big sunfish too in there right now. They get massive too.
Oh, that would be a blast on an ultralight, man.
Oh yeah. Dude,
I mean, Trevor, I really appreciate you coming on to kind of like just shed some light on the Roanoke River proper. I don't know, like, have we really touched on everything? Is there anything else that we need to talk about?
I think that's pretty good. I don't want to talk too much about the section below Niagara Dam because I just found out the boundaries for the Bass Nation, the championship on Smith Mountain. So kind of want to not talk about that section, give away anything.
No, fair enough. Let's also promote your work. If people want to golf, what group do you work with?
I work for Ballyhack Golf Club, and we're like super private though.
Okay.
If I can get somebody in with me because I'm an employee, so I get free golf every so often. So if anybody wants to come down and play, they can. I know you had the guys on recently, the golf and bass guys. They'll probably jump all over that. I do play. I'm not any good, but I do like to hit the ball around.
I only need one sport to stress about.
Yeah, we're super private, so it's kind of like a travel course. So like if you buy a membership, it's super expensive, but you get access to like 6 other courses too that are around the country. It's called Dormy Network. That's what I technically work for. So they got one like Indiana, New Jersey, North Carolina, and then the one in Roanoke. But yeah, I will tell you that our course is hard. The way the mountains are in Roanoke, and I mean we have ravines right in the fairway, and it's a hard course. If you have a good driver, you'll be okay though.
Trevor, I really appreciate you coming on, guys.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, if you guys want to highlight just a little area of the country, a little area of the Mid-Atlantic, yeah, please shoot me an email, fishingthedmv@gmail.com. Reach out to me, Instagram, Facebook, just to kind of just, yeah, give your area a shout out. It is so cool, all these little places that there are in Virginia, North Carolina, and Maryland. And I really appreciate everyone just, trying to share their passion for the outdoors and fishing. As always, link in the episode description, everything that we talked about. Go support Trevor on Instagram. I'll put a link to his Instagram and stuff in the episode description. And we will see you guys next time on Fishing the DMV. Bye. You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your host, Thomas Ahrens. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what